Alright, welcome to the Collapse Experiment. I'm doing this show from the cabin because I was not planning on doing any videos this weekend. But this whole ordeal with emails and Shawn Ryan and the Tesla truck guy, I noticed a lot of people, even people I know, who immediately went on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. I'm just going to keep calling it Twitter because X sounds like I'm talking about a porn site. So I read the email. I watched the Shawn Ryan podcast twice. Listened to it. I listened to it on Spotify. I did get a copy of the email, and here's what a lot of people who think that they're debunking it haven't realized. I realized this when I was on X earlier this morning. The same squiggly lines that you see under the misspelled words are things that Twitter picks up on when you're typing. Originally, I thought like this must have been transferred over to Microsoft Word so that they could print it off because they had a printed copy that they were looking at during the podcast. But then they took a screenshot. So, I mean, Shawn Ryan and Shoemaker are really the only two that could verify this, but my guess is when they were organizing, putting together this show, a copy of the email was copied and pasted over into Twitter, sent via Messenger, where it would have that black outline with the white letters, and you end up with the squiggly lines. Well, this is obviously a draft, and he must have typed this up and faked the email. Las Vegas police verified it was his email address. He did send it. The information they could not verify, therefore they didn't believe that it should be released. Then they have the notes, the manifesto from the cell phone, where, and this is the part that I think is the psyop. This guy definitely had some concerns. He was concerned about quite a few things. World War III, he was concerned about DEI, Democratic Party, and that shit show. And the thing is, all the stuff that they're talking about, I'm like, he's not wrong on any of this. So, the only thing that Shawn Ryan did get wrong and Shoemaker is the theory that the guy was still alive. They've got the Tesla truck information. They're able to match tattoos on the body to ones that Levenberger actually had. So we know it was him, and he did delete himself in the truck before it exploded. This doesn't seem to be, in my opinion, an act of normal depression and or self-deletion. This seemed to be more of a desperate act of, I have to get this message out there because this is regarding the end of the country, which obviously he loved. Some people were saying like, oh, the events in 2019 over in Afghanistan also never happened. There's no proof, blah, blah, blah. There's proof out there. Like there's a UN report about how this might have been a war crime. And it needs further investigation. There's also the two other Green Berets who were listed in the email but were redacted because they're still active duty and serving overseas somewhere in some capacity. So, There's a couple things I want to touch on when it comes to things that were in the email. The war crime, unfortunately, the war crime, it might have been something that he felt guilt about and wanted some type of justice for. That doesn't happen. It doesn't at all. Like, I can list off several that I already know of from memory. The, God. There's one incident of a U.S. submarine over, it was in the Pacific during World War II. The sub went and sunk a Japanese vessel that had Japanese soldiers on it. The sub surfaced, and they used the 50 cal on the deck of the sub to shoot the men who were floating in the water. War crime. Now, you could argue, well, that's mercy because, those guys are going to drown and they couldn't fit everyone on the sub. Then there was the underground bomb shelter in Iraq back in the Desert Storm. We knew the bunker was there. We purposely used a bunker buster on it to see if the bunker buster actually worked in a real war situation. Killing, I forget how many women and children that were in there. No one was ever prosecuted for that. And this guy is not the only person who served in Afghanistan that has these feelings about things that they saw that there really needs to be some type of justice for. Like, they don't understand why they're over there. Bo Bradall is one of them, writing back home to his father about how we're driving into these villages and the Abrams tank is running over kids and I can hear the bones crunching under the tracks as they just continue on after running over kids. So I don't know if he actually thought that like something would happen. Maybe he just really wanted it to. But then there's the gravity propulsion system. And a lot of people, well, the only thing I can find is science fiction. So a little over a year ago, I had to do research on the oh man, how do I explain this? The Nazi cult, their cult beliefs. Now, a lot of this had to do with, the Aryan race, where it came from, blah, blah, blah. A lot of it sounded a lot like Mormonism. Like the aliens are brought here by a higher species. Yeah. And this was like really big during the 1930s. So you had these cult beliefs in this political party in Germany. And part of it was this alien technology. The gravity propulsion system, the engine, the driving force of these devices is this red mercury ball that once it starts spinning creates its own gravitational force, so it's not affected by Earth or other gravity forces. It moves on its own. Really no limit to speed. G-forces are not a thing because you're not moving against anything. You're your own encased. I don't really know how to explain it, okay? It's why these things can do what they do. And a lot of people are like, these guys have to be drones. They can't have a pilot. Like, the G-forces themselves would just kill anybody inside. And yet, if you think about it, the planet itself is moving at what, like 10,000 miles per hour? We don't feel a thing because of, like, we're accustomed to the gravity here. When you have a device where weight is not a factor. It doesn't matter how big it is, where it goes. It can go underwater. And even the force of the water doesn't affect the speed. Like, it doesn't even slow down once it hits the water. The payload, if you're going to use it as something like that, doesn't really matter. So when he was saying unlimited payload, he was dead on with that. Now, Chinese submarine, actually, these things, they don't even need a submarine. You don't have to transport them. They could send the damn thing underwater, have it pop up wherever they wanted it to, and it would keep on going. They don't have to fly. It's like, it's almost like the nuclear torpedo. I forget what it's called. The tsunami. The one that Russia has, where it's like nuclear powered. It can go anywhere. They can navigate it through the oceans to detonate wherever the hell they want. Imagine something that doesn't need a power source. It's not affected by gravity or elements surrounding it. It can go pretty much wherever at any speed. I think we've been working on it, and this is something that comes up with Operation Paperclip. A lot of the scientists that were working on this technology ended up coming over here. Whether or not they got it working in the US, don't know. Did we share it with the Chinese, or did the Chinese learn about it on their own? It's another good question. Would they be able to develop it? Between the two parties, somebody's going to figure it out, and somebody's going to figure it out first. If they broke that code before we did, yeah, we could be seeing these things flying around all over, and it creates a radiation force. So the amount of radiation could probably knock out a drone if it's flying too close to it. It's not going to be like a force field. It's not going to be... It's almost like Fukushima when they sent the robot in to try to get the reactor taken care of to see what was going on, but the radiation level too high. The robot dead. Flying a regular drone towards something like that creates its own radiation could theoretically knock out a drone that's trying to get close to it. The number of people that have been trying really hard to debunk the whole Shawn Ryan thing. There's one in particular, I don't even remember his name. The guy seems to be just an idiot that's like driven to like up his clicks. Well, if you look at this, and this is fake, and this guy's known to make fake emails, and dude, I don't even know you. So why do I trust the shit that you're saying? I'm going to prove him. I'm going to expose him for the fraud that he is. Okay. In every video clip this guy has shown, which one on YouTube is 4 minutes. There's another clip that he posted on X that's only a minute long. Provides no evidence to his argument. He just seems like a very pissed off dude that somebody else is more popular online than he is. And god damn it, they just don't deserve it. So the things that I think are a psyop. One, focusing on this dude. I think the focus on this guy. For one, you've got the left agenda, where they're like, this is a white guy, this is a Trump supporter, this is what's going to happen with Trump being in power. Why would a Trump supporter try to blow up Trump Tower? Anybody? The Shawn Ryan podcast is a psyop. Why would they read an email? One, why would they make a fake email that exposes a war crime that is pretty much verified by the UN, if their whole mission is to uh, control information, right? You think the Pentagon would really want that out? Like, yeah, we blew up a bunch of women and kids in these facilities, but we thought they were making drugs. Drugs. We thought it was. They thought we were refining. They were refining drugs. So that didn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. The gravidity propulsion. If you look more than 5 minutes on Google, you're not going to find this shit on Google. So that whole thing is just that pisses me off too. Well, we couldn't find anything on it. It just seems like it, and that was Shawn Ryan too. This seems like science fiction. It's a science fiction thing. No, it's something we've been working on probably since the late 40s, early 50s. The other thing that seemed like it might have been a psyop or trying to discredit Liebenberger is when somebody from the Department of Defense told Shawn Ryan that the DNA of the body in the truck didn't match the DNA of his son. Trying to make it sound like this guy flipped his lid because he found out that his kid wasn't his. It'd be interesting to see if the girlfriend comes out and makes a statement about like whether or not she's a hoe. And that's really nothing new with military life either, right? You come home and girlfriend's pregnant and the math doesn't add up. That's not an uncommon thing to hear. And it's out again. So, do I think the email is real? Yes. And it's pretty much been confirmed by the Los Angeles Police Department and the FBI. They've confirmed it. They've got his notes from the cell phone, and they're still getting more notes from it. He was in the truck. At no time was the truck activated to self-drive. So the whole notion that he was killed and put in the truck and then driven there to blow it up. I mean, that came from Tesla / Elon Musk. So unless you think Elon is in on said conspiracy, which I'm sure that'll be the next thing that comes up on X. Like, can we trust what Elon says? Like, he's the one that has all the information, and if this is going to make Trump look bad, then why wouldn't he blah, 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 blah. No, the real psyop is the fact that they have us looking at this guy because he's white, because it's considered a terrorist attack. Although it looks like he didn't want to kill anybody, he just wanted enough flashy fireworks to bring attention to what it is that he wanted people to look at. Instead of looking at the dude who's a freaking ISIS supporter, who is radicalized, who has dark skin, and actually killed, 15 people now? 15 people in New Orleans are now gone. But we're focusing on the dude that it appears accidentally might have killed somebody else. Because I keep hearing one was dead and a couple injured. But is the dead guy the one that was in the truck? Or is it somebody that was standing by the truck? I don't know. The building wasn't even damaged. But let's focus on this dude, right? No, that's the real psyop right there is let's not look at the ISIS aspect of this. Even though the White House came out and said expect more attacks in the near future, are they just now listening to Sarah Adams, who's been on the Shawn Ryan show for 5, 6 episodes now, talking about we keep collecting this information, we try giving it to other sources, and for some reason the government's not interested in knowing what the frick is crossing the border down south. Did they just now listen to that and go, oh, Did they not read their emails? Is this another thing? And I bet you this guy, Matt Levenberger, Livelberger, he probably also wrote other people too. I bet you Joe Rogan's probably going, holy crap. Who knows? Maybe Shawn Ryan is going to end up on the Joe Rogan Experience because Joe got an email as well. Like, he tried freaking contacting me. And knowing Joe, it's like, I'm nobody. Why would he try to? Biggest podcast in the world. At least he doesn't have that big of an ego. No, this whole thing, it's irritating me. The number of people I know on X that were just like, this is a psyop, this is so fake, he's former CIA, blah, blah, blah. You've never watched the show. You saying this, I can tell you've never watched the show. Constantly criticizing the government, bringing up the horrible, stupid shit that they do all the time, how they got their head up their ass. Doesn't exactly sound like a freaking psyop to me. So, that's about it for me. That's all I got to say on this, because I can't believe this shit's happening. Yeah, we shouldn't be focusing on this guy. If anything, we should be focusing on his message, which takes us to the other guy in New Orleans and the other people out there like him that are in this damn country. This, as far as I know, this guy might not have killed anyone but himself. Killdozer. So yeah, it just doesn't add up when it comes to being a psyop. There's too many things being confirmed. Keep on typing.